Okay, flooring pros, particularly Rachel Berlin. So she asked a question or made the statement that it's difficult to raise prices for a couple reasons. One, it's psychologically, it's tough on you. And I said this is funny that people have a larger fear of raising their prices than they do of public speaking. I always said public speaking is your greatest fear. Talk to people about raising their prices and their heart starts racing. They think they're going to lose a ton of business. And I could see people emotionally just going nuts over the thought of raising their prices. So I want to shoot this video really quick. This is something that we do at the masterclass. I'm not going to go over it in as good a detail as we do at the masterclass, but I think it's important for those of you that are struggling with commanding higher prices. Let's just go over it really quick, why you should raise your prices. So I'm going to show you how to increase your prices and margins. So first, the difference between a margin and a markup. And again, I'll go over this quick. A good margin in the retail flooring industry is 40%. So on a $5,000 sale, a 40% profit margin would be $2,000 profit. A 40% markup on the same sale would only be a profit of $1,200 because on both these jobs, the cost is $3,000. So the margin would command $2,000 in profit. A markup would be $1,200. You really want to do margins, not markup. If you take the wholesale price and try to increase the price, it's very difficult for you to do, psychologically speaking. It feels like you're gouging the customer and you're charging them way too much. But if you start off with a higher margin, you can even give discounts. The entire sales process will go much smoother. So to get a markup, you multiply cost times desired markup. To get a margin, you take the cost divided by 60% for a 40% margin. So why margins versus markup? We got two stores here. Dynamite Flooring does a 40% margin. 850 square feet of carpet. The wholesale price is $1.61 a square foot. The retail price would be $268 times 850 feet. That's $22.78. Sanford & Son Wholesale Flooring does a 40% markup. The same project, the same job would be $1,912 versus this one is $22.78. Okay, that's a difference of $366. All right, that's on a very small job, but that's all profit. So why you should start with higher prices. So I'm not only suggesting that you do margins, but generally what it's best to do is start off with a higher margin. We start off with a 55 to 60% margin. So you can offer a friction-free experience. What is that? That's where you do everything that's necessary to get the job done right, like moving the furniture, or tearing out, hauling the stuff away. Everything that you can think of that you would normally charge a little bit for, you include that in the job. So it's much easier to give discounts. Discounts do work. People do like saving money. And it's funny that they will actually spend more money with you than with somebody else. But because you provided that discount, it looks like you're saving them money. The feeling is I'm getting a better deal. It's easier to have sales and specials. You want to have promotions, sales, and specials. It's much easier to do when you start off with higher margins. When the manufacturers raise their prices, you don't have to change all your pricing in the showroom. How important is that right now? Because they've raised prices several times and they're going to continue raising prices next year. So if you started off with a 55 or 60% margin, well, then maybe now you just give less of a discount. You don't have to reprice your entire showroom. It's easier to hire and train salespeople. That's true. The salespeople don't really understand, especially new salespeople, they don't really understand the pricing and how it works. And it's much easier to hire them and train them than have them understand what everything costs and then do a markup. Your salespeople don't have to be aware of your wholesale costs. It's easier to include upgrades for free. So profits versus volume, this just quickly establishes that you can be a much more profitable company. This industry requires labor. Labor takes time. You can't make up for that time factor with volume. A volume play is insanity. If you're just selling material, that's fine. You can lower your margins a little bit and try to sell more material and make more money with volume. If you're including labor, it's an insanity play to do volume because you only have so many installers. There's only so many hours in the day. You're going to kill yourself trying to do volume versus being profitable. So here's some of the common objections to raising prices. We'll lose business. That's false. You're not going to lose any business. In fact, you'll probably get more business. We did the math on it. You would have to lose, if you raised your prices 10%, you would have to lose 30% of your business just to break even. Now, if you raise your prices 10%, that 10% additional is all profit. You've already paid for the expenses. That's 100% profit in your pocket. Maybe the salesperson makes a little bit more money, but for the most part, that's all profit. Your expenses didn't change. The customers understand what things cost. No, the customers don't. Why is it that this business is so complicated and it takes you months, years to learn it? And then you treat a customer like they know what your competition charges, they know what things cost, they understand the shipping costs rise, they understand material costs rise. No, they don't. They don't understand any of that. They just want to get their living room done. Okay, so treat them that way. How are you going to help them get their living room done? Don't worry about the price. Let them worry about the price. Let them come up with that as the objection. Don't you come up with it as the objection. That's insanity. You know, they don't understand what you think that they understand. They really don't. They can do all their research online if they want, and they can look up prices online. You know how hard it is to find prices online? How many of you people have prices on your website? The vast majority don't. You know, and I encourage you to put prices on your website. I give you reasons why, and I can show you that in another video, but the customers aren't able to research prices as you think. And usually when they're doing research, especially if they're researching prices, they're trying to understand that to understand what they have to budget for, not to understand what you charge versus somebody else. So giving them an idea helps them take the next step. My competition will easily beat us. Well, with this kind of skill, if your competition can simply beat you with lower prices, then you're not doing the job right as a salesperson. You need to learn how to sell, and you need to understand what you're worth and why, do you think that at a higher price, a customer should go with you? Is it in their best interest to go with you over your competition, over a Home Depot, over a Lowe's, over a Empire? Do you think a customer will be better off going with you at a higher price? That they'll have a better experience, that the product will be better, that the installation will be better? If that's what you believe, then you have an obligation to close that sale as hard as possible. If it's in your customer's best interest, then you should learn how to sell and how to establish that and tell them that. And you should command the prices that you deserve. So you can pay your salespeople, so you can pay your installers, your vendors, your rent, everything else, and then you put money in the pocket that you deserve. I don't want to rip off customers. That's good. You shouldn't rip off customers. If you don't want to rip off a customer, then do what you said you were going to do for the price you were going to do it for. The only person that's ever ripped off a customer is the people that don't do what they say they're going to do for the price they agreed to do it for. You can't charge too much, and oftentimes it's the people that don't charge enough that end up ripping off customers because they can't finish the job right because they didn't charge enough, or they can't hire a good enough installer, or they didn't pay their materials because they didn't charge enough. It's those guys that are ripping off customers. Nobody is charging too much because a customer has a choice. It's up to them to decide if it's worth the price you're paying. So you are incapable of charging a customer too much and ripping them off. In 2017 and 18, we went through 6 price increases on carpet. 2018 was a record year for carpet, even though prices went up. Okay, now let's discuss, okay, so we do this at a masterclass. We discuss your prices and the objection to it. But prices continue to go up. Shipping costs continue to go up. What are we facing right now? Supply shortage issue. Why are supplies short if customers won't pay higher prices? Customers are paying the highest prices right now than they've ever paid before. Even if you aren't commanding a 40% plus margin, let's say you're getting a 35% margin and your prices are low. Your prices are still higher than they were a year or 2 years ago, and you're busier than you've ever been. If customers will not pay higher prices, why are we all busier than we've ever been? Why is everybody setting record numbers with higher prices? You know, why is everybody busier than they've ever been before, even though prices are higher than they've ever been before? I guarantee you'll be able to raise your prices 10% and you're not going to lose any business. In fact, every time I've raised my prices, I gain more business. And I practice what I preach. We have raised our prices. We have looked for ways to cut our expenses, to increase our margins, to increase our profitability. And it gives us the ability to run a better store, to do more marketing, to attract more customers, to give better customer service, to offer more to a customer than what we might be able to in the past. And we get nothing but 5-star reviews. If we get a review that's not 5 stars, it's because of a lack of communication. Nobody has ever given us a bad review because they felt like we charged them too much. We don't have any reviews like that. I never had in my business life a review because we charge a customer too much or they felt like we were ripping them off. And I've always been the highest person in my market. So, you know, there's no reason not to establish and raise your prices and charge higher prices, especially you, Rachel. You guys have a phenomenal store in a small town, an amazing reputation. There is absolutely no reason why you guys shouldn't be the highest priced company in town and continuing closing jobs at the rate you guys are closing them at. If you need to do anything in your business, I've talked to you, I've visited your company before, I'd love to visit it again. So it's decreasing the selection a little bit. You had too much in the store, I don't know if you do now. And then working on that sales process. So there's always things that you could probably do to improve the sales process, but there's no reason why you guys shouldn't charge higher prices. Absolutely not. So get over your fear, raise your prices, and get everybody on board. You will win, I guarantee it. Okay, now sign up for the masterclass and learn this and a whole lot more.